Comic Book Savant, Reel to Reel, Movie Review. Welcome back to the Comic Book Savant podcast. I'm your host, James Harris. In this episode, we're going to be doing a Reel to Reel episode with a movie review of Mortal Kombat from Warner Brothers. This was actually a review you guys voted on in the Facebook group that you wanted me to do. It was this in Godzilla versus Kong. I've always loved the Mortal Kombat movies, or the original Mortal Kombat. So I thought it would be fun to review this one. So once you guys okayed it, I knew I was going to see the movie anyway, so I thought it would be, a fun thing for everybody. So just to get into the particulars of this film, it is directed by Simon McQuad. It's also written by Greg Russo, Dave Callum, and Oren Ozell, I think. And the breakdown for the movie is as follows. MMA fighter Cole Young seeks out Earth's greatest champions in order to stand against the enemies of Outworld in a high-stakes battle for the universe. The cast as follows is Jessica McNamee as Sonya Blade, Josh Lawson as Kano, I hope I pronounced this correctly, Haruko Sanada as Scorpion, Joe Talism as Sub-Zero, Louis Tan as Cole Young, Atabu Asano as Raiden, Ludi Lin as Liu Kang, Rashad Brooks as Jax Briggs, Chen Han as Shang Tsung, Shishi Stringer as Melina, Daniel Nelson as Cabal, and Max Huang as Kung Lao. And this film did a pretty good job representing the source material from the video games. I feel like the CGI and special effects were one of the real MVPs in this movie, and bringing some of the most memorable moves and moments from the video game over to the big screen and represent it well. I feel the biggest letdown in the movie was the script. It was very choppy, and you definitely had the feeling that the studio meddling was involved, which made this go from what could have potentially been a great film to just a decent one. The biggest flaw in the movie for me was the inclusion of the Cole Young character, which I felt that was just redundant. It was tone deaf, and it felt forced into the movie kind of last minute. Some of the plot threads they kind of sort of introduced or kind of hinted at the beginning of the movie with the character never went anywhere, and it felt like you could have just totally cut him out of the movie, and the movie would have still been just fine without him. It was similar to something I said in the review of the Batman Way of the Dragon. It was a Richard Dragon movie, but they stuck Batman in it, and they could have cut Batman totally out of the movie, and it still would have worked just as well. I felt like it was similar with this Cole Young character, which he's not related to the games at all. It was this kind of thrown in character, and he felt force fed in. And some of the themes you saw with the character, they could have just used Liu Kang to portray some of the similar things without adding this kind of useless point of view. It felt like the studio was like, we want this universal character that will be for people that are not fans of the game, that you would get the perspective from his character, but it wasn't developed well. I wouldn't have mind if the character was developed well, had a good story, and I don't know much about Louis Tan, but he's not a good actor. So it was hard to feel sympathetic to the character. And he didn't have, like, his powers was just he could take a beating. It was just so tone deaf, and it just missed the mark, like, totally. And I don't know the guy, so it's not a dig on him. I just feel like it was the way that the studios and the writers handled the character, which hurt the character. Because even if you have a guy or girl that are not such a strong actress or actor, you can write to their strengths and play up on that and make it really work. It was none of that that went on here. It was just they left him out to dry on that one, like big time. But it's neither. I feel like he got stronger as the movie went on, but he was such a integral part of the movie throughout. It just was. It was too much. It was too much of him in the film. Um, Simon McQuad. He's new to feature films. I feel like he showed throughout the movie that this could have used a director with a little bit more experience, especially if the objective of this film was to create a franchise around Mortal Kombat. You definitely needed someone with a little bit more seasoning and experience to have elevated this to where I felt like they want this to go long term as having a franchise of movies. Why would you give a first run director this film to direct? But it's a lot of weird choices were made by the studios when it came to this movie. For sure, it definitely felt like that. Casting I also felt was uneven. Excuse me. Felt uneven with choices they made. Akuro Asanada as Scorpion, Ludi Lin as Liu Kang, and Josh Lawson as Kano, and Mashad Brooks as Jax were great choices. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. But when it came to choices like Jessica McNamee, Louis Tan, etc., just felt uninspired, and to me it hurt the movie. Like when I saw Jessica McNamee as Sonya Blade, I thought of the person, weirdly enough, and I think I spoke on this in recently, where I've been on this like kick of watching a bunch of like just low rent action movies. I'm a kid of the 80s and 90s, the video store rental period, and I love action movies, just your corny direct to video, big budget, all budget, just popcorn action movies, like the hour and a half runtime movies. Well, I recently, over the past few months, probably like the past 6 months or so, I saw this movie that had what's her name, Eva from, well, formerly, it's weird because now that's changed. Formerly she was with WWE, but she recently has come back to WWE, Eva. And I saw her in this movie with, I think it was Bruce Willis in the movie and some other actors. Just direct the video, saw it on Netflix. Don't even remember the name of the movie, but she played a similar character to Sonya Blade. And so as soon as I see this chick, and I'm like, she's not Sonya Blade. I was like, Eva could have really nailed it. I mean, it's just the same character I saw her playing this movie. Like, she would have killed it. And she was I'm not saying that Eva's like an Oscar award winning actress, don't get me wrong, but she pulled off the action, the gunplay, everything was very convincing. This chick just wasn't even convincing as Sonya. And I feel a certain kind of way about it because the Sonya Blade character was based on a action actress from back in the 80s and 90s, Cynthia Rothrock. And if you know anything about Cynthia Rothrock, she was the original BA action heroine in she did a lot of shooting over in Japan and China with direct to video movies that came over to the States. If you've never seen Cynthia Rothrock, look her up on YouTube. Try to find some of her movies. Phenomenal martial artist and popcorn action heroine lady that the character is based upon. So knowing that and seeing this woman in the role, this felt like total disrespect to everything that the character is based upon, and I just took it personally. I don't know why. It's kind of like the thing I have with the Avengers movie that I've talked about millions of times about. I hated Captain America's suit in the first Avengers movie, and every time I watch it, it bugs me and I talk about it. This is one of those things. Like, every time I will watch this movie, I will always say, why? When I see this chick on the screen as Sonya, why? You could have picked anybody else. Why her? Anyway, I digress, because clearly this is just me and you talking. Y'all are family. I could tell you these things. She sucked in the role. Nothing personal. I don't know her. Next time, please, better casting. Y'all lost me with the Louis Tan and her in the movie. Just just felt wrong. The executives knew better. Just stop it. Stop it at this point, please. Anyway, one thing that I felt that they that really could have helped this movie on the writing side is if they had brought in the writer from the Mortal Kombat Legends, Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge, the animated film that I reviewed a little while ago. Jeremy Adams, they practically duplicated like his opening scene from that film with the opening film of the opening sequence of this film, which is just wrong. If you're gonna like ape him, just like legit, just get him to direct the movie. He did a great job with the animated movie, or at least let him write it, because he wrote a really good animated movie. I had issues with that too, part of it, but but you could tell he was a really huge fan, and I felt like he could have delivered a way more cohesive story because he's such a fan. He could have did a good job of balancing it a little bit better than what they did here, because I felt like aspects of it were aped from that animated film, and like let him write the script, because that was a better written movie than this one was. Just a suggestion: if or when you do the sequel, Warner Brothers, let Jeremy Adams write it, please. Help yourself. You'll make more money. Trust me. Let him write it. Also, I feel like despite the problems with the movie, you would think I hated the movie, but I didn't. Overall, I enjoyed the movie, and I really would like to see a sequel. They did enough here, with the right choices they made, to really have me invested in the world and to see where a sequel might go. But of course, because it's me, and this is what y'all guys love about me, is that I have suggestions to help you make it better. Number one, I would like to see maybe someone like Sam Hargrave. I know he's in that Marvel world, and he's with the Russo brothers, because he directed Extraction, which I reviewed not too long ago. He was the second unit director and stunt coordinator for a lot of the MCU movies, but he started in directing. I would love to maybe see him, because he's up and coming, and they could probably get him for cheap, and he could shoot the great action scenes and balance with what we saw with Extraction with a little bit of drama. If you want to sprinkle some of that in there, he can handle more than action from seeing Extraction for sure. So if you brought him in, that could bring up the sequel just a notch. If you're really trying to have this be a franchise, I think adding Jeremy Adams as a writer and bringing in someone like Sam Hargrave, both you can get on the relative cheap in Hollywood terms, could really punch it up and bring it up from a decent movie to a great movie that you can really generate some revenue off of and get a franchise going. Also, this is also very, very important. Try to get David Leitch and Chad Stahelski's production company involved, because right now they're killing it when it comes on the production side of action films in Hollywood. Between the John Wick movies, they did the movie Nobody. They're really killing it right now when it comes to action films. They're great directors, but they're in demand, and they're attached to way bigger stuff, and they're busy. But their production company and their eye for talent, one of the guys was their assistant that directed Nobody, and he killed that. That was a good movie. I haven't seen it. Everything I've heard about it was good. I can't wait till it comes out or on home video where I can buy it or rent it or whatever so I can watch it. It's too expensive now, but I heard nothing but good things about it. And their production company is getting busier and busier through the projects they're doing in movies as well as TV. So grab them. Those three things could help you so much. Another change I would like to see: recast Sonya Blade. That's her name. I have it here. Natalie Eva Marie, formerly WWE, back WWE celebrity, has slowly been building up her acting chops after seeing her in a movie. Oh, I actually did it here in my bullet point notes here. The movie was called Hard Kill on Netflix. I was like, wow, she should have been Sonya Blade. She would have been perfect in the role. Watch that movie if you haven't seen it. If it's still on Netflix, look it up. Hard Kill. Her, Bruce Willis, and some other people. Good movie. I'm trying to tell you, watch that movie. And if you watch Mortal Kombat, tell me she would not be a good Sonya Blade. If you don't agree with me, cool. But I'm telling you, watch that movie, watch Mortal Kombat, and watch the girl play Sonya, and then look at Eva Marie's performance and be like, huh. If you don't agree, please tell me if you've seen this movie and you've watched Mortal Kombat. I just want to know, am I tripping? But it just was like screaming to me like, why? She's perfect. I'm just saying. I could be wrong. I'm totally open that I'm not always right about stuff. You know, I'm not like that dude. I could be wrong, but I love movies. I love performances in movies, and I just feel like casting wise, she could have worked so well, and you could have got it for cheap. You would have got it probably for just as cheap, maybe. You know, even Marie's not going to break the bank. Let's keep it a buck. Like, you know, she's not. Anyway, rating wise, I'm going to say acting is a 6 out of 10. Casting is a 5 out of 10 because they had it half right and half so wrong. Direction, 6 out of 10. Special effects was about an 8 out of 10. Story, 7 out of 10. Overall, 6.5 out of 10. You know, it's not horrible. It's not great. It's meh. It's meh with the potential for way more. I just felt like studio meddling and a little bit better choices in the casting and behind the camera side, which I'd still, you know, point that in the way of Warner Brothers as a studio, could have really hit the mark on what I felt like when they were portraying this in trailers and stuff, what they wanted it to be. It just seemed there was a lot of mixed signals going on between maybe the people producing the movie and the studio. It was like this is a perfect example of close but no cigar, but enough was laid down there. If handled right, they could salvage this and be a runaway, you know, be like a Fast and the Furious, you know, kind of turnaround story where it was like, this is not going to be anything. This is going to die off in a film or two. To, hey, this could, you know, because it's been what, 10, 11, I think, Mortal Kombat games. So this could be a long going franchise if handled correctly going forward, learning from the mistakes of this film for sure. But that's all I have for you guys for this episode. As always, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Comic Book Savant. You can also find me on Facebook. If you like the work that I do and you want to help support me, consider becoming a Patreon over at patreon.com/Comic Book Savant. If you cannot remember the links, don't worry about it. Just go to comicbooksavant.com. It's a one-stop shop. All the links to everything you need will be right there. Also, consider emailing me I love to hear back from you guys to get feedback on seeing what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, or if you have a suggestion on something you want to see me cover in an upcoming episode of the podcast, let me know. Just send me an email. It is comicbooksavant@gmail.com, or just go to the website and it's a contact us page and you can drop me an email there and I will get it and I will respond to you. And if it's a reasonable request on something you want me to cover, I'm always open to do it. Just give me time to work it in on the calendar of things I have to cover. But I love hearing suggestions from you guys on things you want to hear me talk about. I want this to be a collaborative experience, so that feedback helps guide me on how I position and how I do things upcoming for the show. I want to do stuff I'm excited about, and I'm excited to hear about the things you guys want from me and hear me talk about as well. Certain times, you know, as a content creator, not that we run out of ideas, because I never thought I would be doing this like 15 years and going on 16 or whatever. It's a lot of years. Since 06, you know, we're getting ready to go into another anniversary. You know, it's just a collaboration process. Sometimes I get excited because I didn't think about that. And be like, when I hear about stuff you guys want me to talk about, it makes me even more excited. So it's a symbiotic relationship. So definitely drop me a line if it's, you know, things you want me to cover. I'm always open to it. But that's all I have for this episode, you guys. Hopefully all of you are staying safe out there, taking care of yourselves. Until next time, you guys take care, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.